Oh, here we go.
There we go.
Oh, here we go. See, I got the wrong thing up. See?
Yep.
How about that? All right. So we're all off, but we did get a nice plug from Nick Boyle. So from the Baltimore Ravens, it works, man. How about that? Can't beat that though. So all right, let me hold on here. Here we go. All right, now we're good. All right, everyone, welcome back to the huddle. We've been, some miscommunication, some things popped up that we couldn't get on right away, but now we're back. And we're in like Flynn. It's football season for the next every Sunday from now until February. We're gonna have football.
Yeah, and there's an extra week too, so don't forget
about
that.
And an extra week. That you're damn right. So very excited about that. And we had some football this weekend, although it was college, I heard, though, the breaking news. You heard it here. Coach Muddle, Cam Newton signed.
Did he?
You hear? Yeah.
No. Did you know that?
Yeah. Bishop Sycamore.
Oh, man.
He'll be on ESPN Saturday.
Oh, okay.
He might be able to throw for 5,000 yards there.
Oh, man.
No, but look, obviously, if you want to start with college, if that works.
That works.
No, I mean, obviously, a bunch of big games this weekend. Alabama just looks, once again like Alabama, and kind of like obviously I talked about it a lot last year, and I still think they're going to have the same issue. You got 3 or 4 teams and everybody else. Obviously you got to put Georgia in there now, but I thought Georgia was one of those teams anyway. Up there with Clemson, Ohio State, and Alabama. Right. But it's those 4 teams and everybody else. I mean, Alabama played Miami, and it was a joke. And Miami, look, they're not a great team, but they're a good team. They're a top 25 team, and it was 27-0 in,
5 minutes.
Quarter. Yeah. I mean, it was a joke. It was – and I don't know. I just think there's a problem in college football that they need to figure out, and maybe – expanding the playoff and doing some of these things that they're going to do with these conferences will work. But, Alabama looked great. Big win for Georgia. I mean, holding Clemson to 3 points, that's telling you something.
Well, there was no offensive touchdown in that entire game because if you remember, that was a pick 6.
Right.
That touchdown. So, we don't know what Georgia's offense is.
Right.
Either because they didn't do anything. So we'll see. I'm excited because, as we have connections on the show with was formerly FAU, now with Ole Miss with Coach Kiffin and Coach Durkin, who was at the University of Miami or University of Maryland. I'm sorry, I get the M's mixed up. We were talking about Miami, but, he's their new defensive coordinator. And, he showed, hey, I'm not sitting here saying that they're going to go beat Alabama. But last year they did get into a shootout and they had no defense. This year they have some defense, so the SEC better take notice that Ole Miss has a defense this year.
Right.
Because that offense, when you're running a play every 16 and a half seconds, you're wearing some guys out like they did with Louisville last night.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they're there yet, obviously.
No, they're not. They're not. I'm not saying that. But they're
it's only year 2. When he gets to year 4 or 5 and, has his guys in there that he wants, you're seeing it with Chip Kelly this year, obviously. Right. UCLA looked very good. Big win. Big second win for them, obviously, on Saturday night. And now Chip had to pretty much get rid of that hold because none of them fit his style.
Right.
So that's why it took a little long. And now you're kind of starting to see the fruits of his labor. I didn't know.
And who said that?
I remember you ever saying that.
I forget when Chip Kelly got hired as the coach. I said, wait 3-4 years.
Yeah.
And you're going to start to see a change in the dynamic at UCLA.
Right. Well, and I didn't know. He only had like 50 players on the team at one point. That was that bad. So he got a lot of scholarship guys on there now. He has the guys he wants. And we'll see what he can do. But that was a big win for that program to get that win. And, we'll see what happens from here. College football isn't going to look the same as what it looks like today in a couple of years.
Oh,
I don't
absolutely.
know what's going to happen, but with Oklahoma and Texas moving to the SEC, which is a complete money grab, no doubt. Because if you're Oklahoma, if it's about winning to you, then why are you going to the SEC? Because they're good in the Big 12, but they're going to be maybe the 7th or 8th best team in the SEC. It's all about money, obviously.
Absolutely, but also, you have to follow your biggest rivalry. And, Texas, they had to, because you got to keep the Texas-Oklahoma, that Red River rivalry, you got to keep it together.
Well, you could have
because in Texas A&M left, they don't, that big Thanksgiving rivalry, Texas A&M is gone.
Right.
Now it's going to come back because obviously they'll be in the SEC together.
Yeah.
So you bring that back, but I think Oklahoma had to follow Texas because that is the big game there.
Well, the thing that's going to happen, though, you got the Big Ten, you got the SEC. I would call, obviously, the SEC is the powerhouse, but I think the Big Ten's in good condition, too. Right. The question's going to be what happens with, and I know there's some agreement or whatever, but I almost got to wonder if the Pac-12 and the ACC are going to fill out their leagues with the teams from the Big 12 that they may consider, not like Kansas, but the upper echelon of the Big 12 that's left over. And
Iowa State. Kansas have a big win this weekend? Or is that Kansas?
Kansas sucks. The last time, Kansas sucks. But, Kansas State, Iowa State, teams like that, maybe
Iowa State are ranked 9 and 10 or 10 and 11.
Right.
And they play this week. Big matchup.
Here we go. No, I know, but teams like that, maybe they go to an ACC or a Pac-12. I don't know, because those conferences are considered weak. Now, like Clemson, for example, that's a huge loss on Saturday because now Clemson doesn't play a ranked team the rest of the year. So even if they go undefeated, it's going to be, but who did they beat? They played one game. They scored 3 points. And another big hurt for Clemson is North Carolina. What's going on, Angela? Is North Carolina losing in their game because they were, ranked number 10 in the country, a lot of hoopla, and obviously they lose their first game. So that's not good. They needed North Carolina to beat Virginia Tech and keep a high ranking, although they weren't playing them, hoping they would play them in the ACC championship, and then you get a good win there and be the ACC champion. But not good. And I don't know. Just a lot of questions in college football. To me, obviously big win for Penn State over Wisconsin. I'm a Penn State guy. Stiz is a Penn State guy. So, I like to see that. Frank, and another thing, Stiz, too, which I didn't know, Penn State's got the number 1 class right now in 2022. So, they had that rough start last year. But to me, it's like with college football and COVID, I think Penn State's going to, turn it around. They'll have a big year. I like how Penn State looks. But once again, I think Ohio State's just at another level. And they're going to be tough to beat. But, that's going to be the game to watch in the Big Ten is when Ohio State and Penn State play on October 30th.
Oh, absolutely. And I actually keep an eye on, obviously everybody gets all excited. Michigan had a win. Are they back? This week will tell. You're playing Oregon. Oregon's a pretty good, I would call them the upper echelon of the Pac-12, right? So, we'll see how Michigan fares. They play them this week. And
no, they don't.
They call.
Ohio State plays Oregon.
Oh, is it our? Oh, my bad. See, I don't know. I don't know. But don't they play? They play Washington then. I know they play a Pac-12 team.
Stiz, we're going to get you now for a ringer, and every time Coach makes a mistake, we're just going to – so we can chat him up, number him up over the course of the show.
I'll try.
There you go.
I'll get my cowbell out.
There you go. We need some cowbell on the show. We absolutely need some cowbell.
Like they got on PTI where they had Stat Guy who used to say all the mistakes at the end.
Yes.
Remember? Yeah. Coach, that guy would be busy on our show. That's all.
That's absolutely. He would be.
So, no, but yeah, those were pretty much the big games. Obviously, because Alabama, like I said, another level. Clemson, Georgia, and look, hopefully, I don't think Alabama and Georgia play unless it's in the SEC championship. I'm really hoping that's the game because you got Kirby Smart, obviously former assistant to Nick Saban. Would really love to see that in the SEC championship.
Well, they got to get through Florida. That's the Georgia, Florida. They've got to get through.
Oh, I think they will. Look, they handled. Clemson's a top-notch program, and
they did not score any points though. If you can't score points when you start playing those SEC teams that can score points, you're gonna be in trouble.
Right, but Coach, first of all, it's the first game, and Clemson's got a very good defense as well. I mean, come on, Venable is one of the best defensive coordinators, if not the best in football. A guy who could have took a bunch of head coaching jobs and didn't. So we will see. We'll see what happens. But let's get on to the NFL, obviously, because that's the meat. That was the little.
Well, wait a second. I want to hear you went 5-0. Don't we want to touch base a little bit? Just a little bit. It is college.
Right. Thank you. I had a great weekend in college. I gave out Georgia and Iowa. I loved them. Look, it was one of those weekends, and usually, especially with college, I like to watch first because it's so different from year to year. You can take those top 25 and wipe your what with them because that's all bullshit. That's all for they can say number 3 versus number 6 on opening weekend. It's all for hype. But I loved Iowa. I loved Georgia. I think the line told you something. When you saw Clemson was only a 3-point favorite, a team that's been pretty much in the national championship picture for the last 5-6 years. And, I know Georgia has made the national championship, but still, their program isn't at where Clemson's at, a multinational championship winner over the last few years. Georgia hasn't won a title in 40 years. That line told me something. And that's why I went with Georgia. And then, like I said, I love Iowa. I think Iowa finally has a decent QB, a lot of returning starters. So, it was a good weekend to start 5-0. Let's hope but the bigger thing is let's start like that on Sunday because the NFL is where it matters. That's what we're all here for. I like college football. I love the NFL.
All right. Now we can get to the NFL.
Yeah, right. No, I had a great start. But it's not how you start, Stiz. It's how you finish. And, Stiz is getting ready for year 2 after going 34-10. So a lot of pressure on Stiz. I'm going to keep on putting him on he's with his prop bets last year, obviously.
Whole lot of pressure this year, fellas. That's for sure.
A quick programming note. We're not going to be airing Thursday. I messed up and booked something and didn't realize there's a time conflict.
Yeah, we'll do
Thursday, but we'll definitely be Sunday morning. Monday. So, we'll be back Sunday, regular schedule, Sunday and Monday, but just this Thursday we won't be. We have to miss that.
Right.
With that being said, Stiz, do you have a something for that game? You can tease it now. We're going to give it at the end, but do you have something for the opening game? Do you have a prop you're eyeing or something? Just a yes or no will do. We'll talk about it at the end. I just want to,
I'll acknowledge yes. Yes, I do.
Okay, yeah, that you should because you want all of our 6 viewers to stay until the end so they get the pick. Now, you know what I'm saying?
One thing I would get into, Stiz, obviously, fantasy-wise, okay, you see Zach Martin now, COVID, okay, with a big – that's obviously
big loss on the offensive line. Yeah.
Big development. Would you sit Zeke now? Now, obviously good for the season, but still Thursday night against the Bucs, top 3 defense, you would still play Zeke, though, so you still play him.
You never, ever, ever, ever sit your first round pick. And he was going in the first round at around midway through the 5 or 6 pick overall. So now there's no way you could sit him. I mean, you got to temper your expectations from him.
Right.
Even with Zach Wilson in, I mean, they're going against a really tough run defense in Tampa Bay. this week. So, I mean, you got to temper your expectations, but now you start him all the way.
Okay, now let me give you another scenario, Stiz. All right. I got Dak Prescott. I drafted him as my number one. But I also got Matt Ryan on my bench. Now, a weekend like this with Dak against a very good Tampa Bay defense, would you maybe go to Matt Ryan? Something like that, if you had that kind of scenario. Was Dak off that injury? I know he might have been your first quarterback drafted, but still, maybe you want to see Dak play a little bit. You got a great defense like Tampa Bay. Do you go with Matty Ice versus an Eagles, just as an example?
No, that's a great question because I actually have Matt Ryan as my backup in 2 leagues. I have him with Justin Herbert as my starter. I have him with, I believe, Aaron Rodgers as my starter in one of the other leagues.
Right.
And you know what? I thought the same thing. I mean, man, I was licking my chops seeing Matt Ryan because I got Calvin Ridley. I got Russell Gage. I got a couple of them playmakers there, and they should tear up the Eagles defense this week.
Right.
But with that being said, I think you got to go Dak Prescott week 1 because I think they're going to get behind early. He's going to have to throw the ball. That Dallas defense still really isn't anything special. And, if they get behind like they did all last year, he's going to have to chuck the ball. I mean, you had him in your prop bets last year, and he was on par. I mean, he was throwing like a maniac because they had to score 35 points a game just to have a chance of winning.
Right.
So, I'm starting Dak Prescott.
Okay. No. And that's what a lot of people don't realize, too, with some of these guys that are on bad teams. Look at Winston the year before. He threw for 33 touchdowns and over 5,000 yards because they were always losing. I know he turned the ball over a lot, but there are certain players, because they're behind all the time, they get these, these tremendous stats because you're constantly playing from behind and got to throw the ball. Matty Ice, kind of had the same issue before in Atlanta. I think they're expecting some different things this year, but that'll be interesting. Plus, too, obviously with Dallas, real curious to see because I believe after Tampa Bay, and you might have another 1 or 2 that are better, but if you go as a trio, Stiz, I think Dallas might be 2 when you talk about CeeDee Lamb, Cooper, and Gallup, obviously. Obviously, to me, number 1's Evans, Godwin, and AB in the Bucks.
Come get some, baby. What's up?
Joe Fuller, another guy who was hot on this weekend. He said he was 8-0 in college. So, nice. I told him I liked Memphis last night. I didn't pull the trigger, though, because I was worried about Lane Kiffin calling the plays. So, I'll give out a pick on the Dallas game at the end, too, at the end of the show, because obviously we are not going to be on Thursday. But so I take, obviously you like the receivers then, too. Sis, where did Gallup go in for the Cowboys? How many people drafted him? Not a lot. Is he a waiver guy, or was he drafted?
Yeah, not a lot. He's out there on free agency and waiver wires in a lot of leagues, which I don't agree with. I mean, he should have been drafted in most leagues, especially anything 16 rounds or more.
Right.
He should be on your bench at least. I mean, I'm a big CeeDee Lamb guy this year. I think I told you in the offseason, I was really eyeing him up. I was only able to get him in one of my leagues. But, hey, that one league, that's enough. So I'll be rooting him in.
All right. Now, one more. So I know, sorry, loading you up on the fantasy.
Yeah, no, that's all good.
Now, the Tampa Bay running back situation. Are you comfortable with Fournette, or is that a watching types, see what happens and where they go early on?
No, that's a coin flip. Fournette and Rojo, I mean, and don't forget, they picked up Gio Bernard, too.
Right.
Who's a pass catcher out of the backfield. So, you got a 3-headed monster there who in any week, they'll probably ride the hot hand.
Right.
So, no, I'm not comfortable with either one. I have Rojo in one of my leagues, and, I almost threw up taking him because I really didn't have a choice. I kind of needed a third running back. So, that's a wait-and-see approach. That's going to be week to week. Fournette, as we all know, had a great Super Bowl. Rojo was pretty decent during the season. Fournette doesn't catch the ball. Rojo does. So, it's going to be a wait-and-see approach.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's how I kind of feel about the tight ends with Tampa. I know a lot of people like Gronk, but Gronk didn't have a great year last year. You got to look at that. And he kind of came on in the playoffs, don't get me wrong. But, it was not a great year for Gronk. Like he said, he did get a little bit better as the season went on, but fantasy-wise, it wasn't a great year for Gronk. Now, no. I don't know if you guys saw, and I don't know if we got any other news on it, but there's some rumors TJ Watt. Did you guys hear about that with the Steelers? He might not play. They're saying he might sit out for contract reasons for that first game, and that would be a huge hit to the Steelers. A team, I think, already with enough issues with the losing the lineman on offense and a lot of question marks on that offensive line. What's going to happen with Big Ben? How they ended the year last year? Obviously, you lose Bud Dupree in free agency, and now, there's talk that they're unsure because he didn't show up for practice. They assumed he was going to show up, practice today, and he didn't. So that's the question now, whether he is going to play on Sunday, obviously, and I think that would be a big hit for Pittsburgh.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's a big hit. Hey, Sammy, thanks for checking in, buddy. To go with the second part, I am not worried about Saquon. I am not worried about Saquon. Can I put his question? Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So people know what you're responding.
I don't think they're saying he's pretty close to 100%. I don't think he's going to be a workhorse in the first game, week 1. They're gonna probably work him in. He'll get some touches. Mm-hmm. But look, Daniel Jones proved that you're a quarterback in this league because you haven't proved it yet. Your ass is on the line. And, I said this, you watch, okay? Giant fans, hate me all you want, but Sam Darnold's having a better year than Daniel Jones. Saying it right now, okay? All right?
I don't think that's a crazy,
because I think Sam Darnold should have been drafted over Saquon Barkley. Bottom line.
Stiz or Coach, if either one of you can answer this. Galladay. Is he good? Is he set to go week 1? Do we know?
Practicing, yes.
All right.
He's healthy to play. He's going to play. So, that's the word in the herd.
Right. Okay. Because that's another guy. Stiz, where did he go in fantasy? Galladay.
I'll tell you where he went. He went in 10th round in my league, and that was another guy I almost threw up taking because I didn't want any parts of him. As crazy as that may sound, what a talent. But, this guy's hurt all the time, and them hamstring injuries, I don't know, man. I just don't trust them. And with Danny Dimes, sorry to cut you off, but with Danny Dimes, I'm just not sold. I'm not sold. He doesn't throw the deep ball, so I don't know what he's going to give you this year. But for 10th round, he's a throwaway if he doesn't pan out this year.
Right.
So
no, I agree with you, and that's what I was going to say because I remember me and Stiz talking about it last year, and we had gotten to week 15 or 16, and Stiz was like, "What happened to Galladay? He hasn't played all year." And I don't know if there was an internal issue there with the Lions or what went on.
But he had a hip issue.
But so he's hurt, and that's what goes to Stiz says. You got injuries, and now you got a question at quarterback. Where you go from Matt Stafford to Danny Dimes, and I know Stafford hasn't won a lot, but he's sure of a hell of a lot better quarterback than Danny Dimes. And, he's going to be one of the guys, there are going to be a lot of things we talk about Sunday. One of the things I'm going to talk about are players who are incredibly on the hot seat. And one of them this year, going into this year, is going to be Danny Dimes. Absolutely. He's on the hot seat. I think he needs to deliver this year.
That seat isn't hot. It's blazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think, to me, I really think if they don't make the playoffs, unless he has a great year and it's because of the defense or something falling apart, I think it's the Giants. Let's not forget, too, they got that extra first-round pick. I think they'll be looking to the draft next year for a new quarterback if he doesn't deliver a playoff.
And also, he's not Judge's guy. He didn't draft him.
Right.
So Judge would be easy to get rid of him. And also Dave Gettleman's tied to that as well. And I think he has a poor season. I honestly think the Giants are going to be in the market for a new general manager.
Yeah.
And hopefully Joe Judge doesn't become a casualty because of that, because I'm a real big fan of Joe Judge and just hoping he can survive that.
Yeah. Well, the NFC East, I think you're looking at the same thing this year as last year. I think it's going to be a little bit better. I don't think it's going to be as bad as it was last year. But I think I could see all 4 teams being close. I do believe this year it's going to be between the Cowboys and the Redskins. I think they're the 2 best teams, my opinion. But I also think, honestly, if you said to me, and I swear this isn't the fan in me, I would say if it was, but I swear when I picked the Eagles to win the Super Bowl a couple years ago, it was the fan in me. It really was. But this, honestly, and Stiz will back me up because I've been saying it to him. I think the Eagles could be one of the surprise teams this year. Everybody, from what people were saying, I see people saying the Eagles are going to win 3 games, 4 games, 5 games. Definitely the worst team in the NFC East. Look, they could have a top 5 offensive line. They could have a top 5 defensive line. I think Miles Sanders is going to have a big year. They have a very easy schedule. They went and they get Nelson at corner. You get Harris at safety from the Vikings to kind of try to solidify that secondary with obviously having my God, Stiz, help me out. What's his name? Slay, Darius Slay.
Yeah, I was going to say the guy from the Lions.
I mean, I think the Eagles are going to be better than people think. I really do. We'll see what happens, but I'm not saying they're going to win a division, but I really think the Eagles are going to be closer to 9 or 10 wins than they are 3 or 4 wins. I see an 8 or 9 win type year for the Eagles.
I agree with that. I think the NFC East in a whole, I don't think anybody wins more than 10 games, but I think everybody's between 7 and 10.
Okay.
And somebody, there might be an outlier. Somebody finished 6th, but I don't think any. I think the worst record is what 6-11 or whatever it is.
Right,
6-12. I don't know.
Yeah. But, no, it's going to be close. Look, I think it's going to be a wild year. I really do. I'm so excited for this year. There's so many things to look forward to. I mean, I'm really looking forward to see what the Rams do. What's Matt Stafford look. I know my boy Stiz, that's one thing he'll be bringing up on Sunday, I think, because are you going to get some long-term props out on Sunday, Stiz?
I think Stiz froze.
Okay. Yeah, he might have. Well, if Stiz gives out some of his long-term props, like yearly props, so season props, that's one thing I think Stiz will be looking at. But no, I'm really excited to see what the Rams do with Stafford. On the other side, too, I'm excited to see what the Chargers do in L.A. Obviously, Rams defensive coordinator Staley goes over there. You're getting back the safety everybody loves, Derwin James. You have Herbert. Really curious to see how things work out in regards to the Chargers as well. I think that's the type of team. It feels like every year, Coach, everybody's like, oh, the Chargers. It's not a Washington Jack. It looks like it. It's not a Washington Jack. I'm not a Washington football team fan. But no, it looks like every year everybody's saying, oh, this is the Chargers year. This is the Chargers year. I didn't like their coach. I thought he was a very vanilla off. Anthony Lynn, just a very vanilla off. And they had a good offense, actually.
Right.
But, obviously they lost a lot of close games last year. They blew a lot of big leads last year. So let's see what the Chargers can do out in the AFC West. I think there's a lot of things. Like I said, I think the Browns have that type of team that can make the Super Bowl. I really do. It's all going to be based on, I know you're not a Baker guy, neither am I, Coach, but if that defense can come together and if that defense plays well, and if they can become a top 5 to 10 defense with that running game they got, Coach, do you not agree?
Yes.
That's something that could – that's why Nick Foles, won the Super Bowl, because the Eagles had a top 5 offensive line and running game and a good defense to go with it. And when you have those combinations, it can make up for a quarterback.
Ask Trent Dilfer. Just ask Trent Dilfer.
Ask Jared Goff. I know he didn't win the Super Bowl,
right,
but he made it to the Super Bowl
now,
because they could run the football and play defense. And real quick, Stiz, are you going to give out a couple that's what I was asking when you froze up. Are you going to give out a couple props for the year, too, on Sunday, or no? I thought you might do it. I wasn't sure.
For the year, yeah, I could do that for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mentioned about Stafford. That's one of the things I'm interested in seeing how that plays out with the Rams this year. I think it's going to be very interesting Really looking to see, because he's another guy. I wouldn't call it the hot seat, but expectations now. He's got to deal with them. In Detroit, you don't have expectations.
Right.
He's got expectations now, and that's different for a quarterback. And Coach, to go into one of my picks, I'm going to pick. I won't say who it is, but one of the reasons I'm going to be picking it this weekend, because it's what a lot of people aren't looking at, and you saw it with college, Coach. You can't pray for a good internet.
I honestly don't know what's going on, because my internet connection said it was excellent, and I have no idea what happened.
Yeah,
and look here at the Coach Muddle cave. We upgraded the internet here.
Okay,
we did. We upgraded.
Yes.
We upgraded.
He's got some guy standing on the roof holding it in the air, dude. He's paying.
Got the tinfoil. Hey, I bought the high dollar tinfoil. I bought the high dollar tinfoil. I stopped using that dollar store crap. Okay,
you got the rabbit ear.
Yeah, but no, one thing that people really aren't, and you got to think about it for gambling. You got to, from that point, a lot of people don't think about fans being in the stands. Well, that was big for college.
Yeah.
You're going in there, especially for an offense, So some of those quarterbacks that were rookies last year, like a Justin Herbert, Tua for Miami, they didn't play with fans in the stands last year. So you're can communicate with your offense when you're on the road. Right. Things are a lot easier. They're going to be dealing with that now this year. So that's going to make things interesting. You saw it in college. You saw it, I know Ohio State ended up covering, but Minnesota looked very good early. And then they lose their running back, and he's out for the year.
He's out for the year,
Yeah, second team preseason All-American, really good player. He went out, and look, Ohio State did get hot, but still, the home field advantage is going to be there. You saw it big time on Friday in Virginia Tech when they beat North Carolina outright. So that's going to be something to watch. Home field advantage will be back this year. It's going to be big, and it's going to be something I talk about on Sunday with one of my games, because I think it's going to really factor in on one of my games, and I'll tell you guys about that on Sunday, obviously. And I'll give out my preseason who I got obviously in the Super Bowl, my division winners, my playoff teams, and I have a couple. Prop bets I'll give out too.
And I have a prop bet I'm going to give out as well.
So if you want to make some money, Coach, you bet the opposite of what a coach says, and you'll make some money too. Like me and Stiz, you go with our pick. Coach, just take the opposite, and you got all winners.
All right. Well, Coach hit it a couple of times. How about the Knicks? He hit the Knicks.
He did.
That was the long-term one. I hit the Knicks. Okay.
He's right. He was about 3-50 last year. So
yeah, not bad. Not bad.
Now, Stiz, I do have a fantasy question for you. I just saw that the Ravens possibly going to sign Le'Veon Bell. Is he someone you take off the waiver wire? Because I think he kind of fits that offense really well in Baltimore. I know it'll take a couple weeks for him to kind of get in stride, but I mean, he can catch those little dink and dunks out of the backfield. And I mean, we are talking about one of the more dynamic backs in the league, and he's kind of, I think the Jets screwed him. Adam Gase really screwed him. And I think wherever he lands, he's got something to prove, and I think he'll wind up playing well.
Well, I mean, they brought Le'Veon Bell and they brought Devontae Freeman in yesterday, I believe, to check the squad out. They, I don't know if you know this or not, but Baltimore, besides losing J.K. Dobbins, they lost the backup to Gus Edwards, who was Justice Hill for this season. So they are looking for somebody, which is going to be a guy that I'm going to talk about, a little bit later. Right. I don't know, Coach. You saw what happened with Le'Veon Bell going to Kansas City. I mean, he was going to back up.
Yeah, but he
Clyde
went
Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, but they also wasn't there somebody else? He was the third guy, and he also got there in the midseason.
Le'Veon Bell should beat out Clyde Edwards-Helaire for the starting job if he's
They had the two Williams guys, Darrell Williams, Damian Williams, and Le'Veon Bell should have. unbelievably knocked them out of the picture and taking over the second role as running back for sure. Right. But he didn't. So I don't know, Coach. I don't really. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think they signed him, to tell you the truth.
And my other place where I thought he would land was Buffalo, because they're in dire need of a running back. They're a running back away from playing in the AFC Championship.
But you know what, Coach? I think a lot of these guys, they're trying to go younger and maybe find that hidden gem.
Yeah, I agree.
A guy like a Le'Veon.
I know, and I think
you put up what Joe said.
What he said
about Baltimore, because that's a good point.
Yes.
I do like Latavius Murray, and I do think in the right situation, I agree with Joe that he can be a player. Because look, whenever you got Lamar Jackson on your team, he's going to help you running the ball, because you got to keep it honest with him. Because at any time he can pull and run, and there is nobody in the league like Lamar Jackson. I'm just real curious. Look, Baltimore is one of those great organizations in the NFL that, year in, year out have been there. They got a great running game. But I don't know. I'm down on Baltimore this year, to be honest with you. I don't like the fact that they let Orlando Brown Jr. go by trade to the Chiefs. I don't like that Matthew Judon left. Yeah, you say, well, we're getting Ronnie Stanley back. Yeah, players, it takes a long time to recover from an ACL. I know he's a tackle. You're not looking for athleticism from him, but still, I got a lot of concerns about the Ravens, and losing J.K. Dobbins now too to pile it on, as Stiz mentioned. Now you got Gus Edwards, who's a smaller guy, and I hate to bring this up because I don't want anybody to get hurt, but I said it last year, and if you looked, Lamar Jackson just started balling late and just doing whatever it was he needed to do to win. And that's when they kind of went on that run at the end of the year, winning games. And then obviously they lose to Buffalo. But him playing like that's going to get hurt. You know what I mean? I think it's going to get him hurt, running as much as he is. And I don't want to see it, but I'm just waiting for that day that he's just going to – because he takes a lot of big hits. And I hate to say it that, unfortunately Lamar gets hurt. He's not a big dude. And I think especially this year, everybody thinks, well, we drafted Rashard Bateman. Well, he's hurt now. He's not going to be in the first 3 weeks. Well, we got Sammy Watkins. I like Sammy Watkins, but he's not a number one guy. Yeah, Sammy Watkins is not a number one receiver. And he doesn't have Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill on the other side to play with him now. So I just think a lot of question marks with Baltimore, in my opinion.
Speaking of injuries, let me make a point and kind of ask a question, I guess. We saw with COVID last year, with none of these starters, playing in the preseason.
Right.
And now, once again, we see really none of the starters, none of the main running backs, wide receivers, quarterbacks playing. Now, you saw Kansas City put their guys out, here and there, which I thought was a smart move. I mean, people argue it. Mm-hmm. What do you think comes of that? Do you think there's going to be more injuries early this year because these guys aren't getting out and getting plays in the preseason, or what?
Yeah, I definitely do. And look, I would watch out too. There was a couple guys that instead of holdouts, they called them hold-ins. So they went to practice but didn't practice.
Right.
Dwayne Brown being one of them with Seattle, they just gave him a little pay bump, and now he's going to play. But man, now you're going to go play a 60-minute game without practicing. And, it's like, to me, it's like going and getting a brand new football cleats, and going to break them in football camp. You're waiting for a disaster. You're going to get blisters all over your feet. You know what I mean?
Right,
you want cleats that are worked in. Like, your body needs to get used to it. Physically, for your endurance, everything. And we'll see what happens, Sis. I think it's a good question, and I think I wouldn't be surprised. I thought there was a ton of injuries early last year, and I think it's very possible to see this year. I thought you were going to see more coaches play guys this year. I really did. I understand I understand veteran QBs and some running backs, because running backs, every touch they get, it's like one more closer to the end of their career.
Mile. Yeah.
Right, exactly. I get that. But the rest, linemen, stuff like that, I'd have played. And like Andy Reid said, and it's the truth, he said, we got a whole new all five linemen are new. They got to get to learn Mahomes' cadence. They got to get to learn how to work together. So I think it's a mistake not playing them. I think you're going to see it a little bit on Sunday in that Chiefs-Browns game. I think Chiefs are going to look more prepared early. I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, bet the Chiefs first quarter, because I wouldn't be surprised if they jump out a little bit on the Browns just for the fact that they have played.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Okay.
Now, Stiz, you got some fantasy points you wanted to get into. You want to give us some of your fantasy, if you haven't drafted yet, your do's and don'ts, or any pointers you want to give to the people out there?
Yeah, sure. There's only a couple of days left, before the start of the season. So, these are a couple of things that, I would bring to the table when you go into, your league, whether it be new or old. I think the first thing you got to do is understand the league settings, whether it's a standard league, whether it's a points per reception league, whether your quarterbacks are getting 4 points for touchdowns or 6 points for touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Because what that's going to do is that's going to alter how your rankings are of these players, depending on what your league settings are.
Right.
Which kind of brings me to my second point, cheat sheets. Have your rankings there with you. Put markings on your paper, sleepers, do not draft. Guys that are injured. I mean, that's huge. I could think back, check the injury list, the day before you're going to draft, whether you did it already, whether you're doing it tonight, whether you're doing it tomorrow. That's huge. I can remember, I believe it was 2015, about 6 years ago. We were drafted, and we had a guy in our draft that was his first year in the league. He took over for somebody else. And it was, I believe, mid-fifth round. And he goes up, proud as can be. He had a nice Jordy Nelson sticker in his hand. Well, Jordy Nelson went out in preseason, and he went out for the year, unbeknownst to this guy. So this guy, he looked down on the sheet, and he said, man, I can't believe Jordy Nelson's still out there. He walked up to the board, put a sticker up there, sat down. Ha, suckers. Got Jordy Nelson the 5th round. Next guy went up and said, who the hell drafted Jordy Nelson? He's out for the year. The guy said, he is. The basis of that is come prepared. You know what I mean?
Right.
Know everything about your league and come prepared. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of guys that want to nail down and go into their draft and go with the mindset of, I'm going to draft, running back, receiver, quarterback, tight end, whatever the case may be. Don't do that. There's going to be a lot of guys that drop in different leagues that you want to take the best available, no matter what it is.
Right.
I mean, I get it. If you don't have a running back early, you don't have a star receiver early, sometimes, you have to cave in. But don't go into your draft with this mindset of I have to draft this position. Go with the mindset I have to draft who's the best available guy there. Right. And it's going to get you further in your league. Depth charts for handcuffs. That's huge too. I mean, we see all the guys that are getting hurt. We see all the main guys who you got to keep an eye on their handcuffs, especially running backs, which the last thing I think really the most important on winning your league. Last year in my big league, I had 5 of my guys that I drafted out of 16 in the championship round. Okay. And you know what that's because of waiver wires, because of free agency, because of trades. You have to be eager on the waiver wire and be eager on the free agent market because everybody else is as well. You have to look 3 steps ahead, while the other guy's kind of snoozing on, whoever the handcuff is, whoever the next guy up is. So that's kind of, some points taken into account. And hopefully, if you have your drafts the next couple of days, good luck to everybody.
Yeah. Now, and to 2 of your points, there's one when you say come prepared too. When I say you got it, honestly. Some people set their things on Friday or a Saturday. To me, you got to be doing it Sunday at like 12:30. You know what I mean? Maybe 12:50, because I think there's going to be some guys on a Sunday morning you might hear that are out for COVID protocol or whatever.
Sure.
You got to keep and be current with what's going on because you never know. So, to come prepared. And then the other thing with the waiver wire, too, I think it's really important. I mean, Stiz just said, listen to that. 5 of his 16 guys. So less than a third of his team was left. It was all trades, pickups, maneuvering. So, and honestly, to me, that's what wins you the draft. And the guys that are on top of things ahead, there's always a couple guys in the first week, 2-3 weeks of the year that kind of, well, where'd this guy come from? And then you got to be on top of that. And sometimes I know people like to say, well, wow, it's 1 week. But sometimes, a Victor Cruz with the Giants, remember how it turned out to be a career. So you got to be on that too. And you might, you take it for a game. A perfect example was, look at Claypool last year. Now, I know he didn't finish great, but man, early on, nobody had heard of him. But he has the big game and has a great start. I know probably first half of the season, but you got to look out for those type of things too. And like I said, I really believe it. I think waiver wire is where you win it. I mean, Stiz's MVP last year was David Montgomery, who, Stiz saw some favorable matchups to end the year, picked him up, and I think Stiz would agree, obviously. I would call him the MVP for his one team that he won a championship.
Sure. Him and Devontae Adams, basically rode me to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's very cliche, but it's 100% true. You probably won't win your leagues on draft day, but you sure can lose them. Yeah. By making the wrong choices, by not paying attention. So.
Yeah, and it's about value. It's what I see with – honestly, as crazy it is, it's very similar to the NFL draft, where if you see a guy reach, when you say, well, you know what? Yeah, you took him there, but you could have traded back, gotten more. I know you can't do that in fantasy, obviously, but still, to me, it's all about value, Yeah, and
absolutely.
Yeah, if you take a guy in round 5 that you could have gotten in round 8, you're not getting the value. You could have got a round 5 type player and waited 3 rounds later and grabbed him. So you got a better team. And, for the nerds, it's all that stats and you know how it goes, whatever those computers go. I mean, it all makes sense, but you just don't know. Because look, who'd have thought David Montgomery was going to be, the number 1 running back down the stretch last year, but he was.
Yeah, I would have never thought that. But like I said, I looked ahead. I saw he had 6 very soft matchups at the end of the regular season in fantasy. Now, regular season in fantasy ends week 13, but we're talking like week 9 to 2 and through the playoffs and the championship in fantasy.
Now, does the fantasy change because there's an extra game this year?
I was just going to ask that. Is it week 17 the championship now stays this year?
Yeah. Yep. Good question. Yeah. We're going to do so. As opposed to last year, we did it till week 13, the regular season, and then the championship, the Super Bowl in fantasy was week 16. Yeah, it's going to go an extra week because don't forget, week 14, they're bye weeks. Right. Eagles, I think Miami's on bye. I think the Colts may be on bye week 14. So that's the last thing you want. It's bad enough to have some of your star players on bye the last week of the regular season, but you don't want them on bye the first week of your playoffs. Right. So yes. Yep.
The one thing I think that could be interesting in regards to that with fantasy too, Stiz, is, I know when you look at it, you say, it's one more game. But, it's a little bit longer of a season now. So do you have some teams that maybe clinch? You know what I mean? That now, let's say they clinch in week 17 instead of obviously now because you have 18 weeks. So they say, week 17, we're going to sit some guys now too. So I wonder if that's going to have – curious to see if that ends up having a fantasy impact. I mean, you're kind of in that unknown area. But, it's definitely possible that you add an extra week that maybe there's a team that clinches and kind of takes the foot off the gas and gives their players some time off.
Yeah, you hope not. I mean, it's always the last week of the season, the last week, meaning week 18 this year. Right. You'll see a lot of guys sitting, a lot of star players, they clinched already. But I don't know that they give you 2 weeks off. I mean, they may. Depends on how far you are ahead. But it's uncommon that you're going to see, you're going to see teams, coaches give star players, 2 weeks off because then you're going into the playoffs rusty.
Right, and exactly. And then you got, you're talking 3 weeks. If you get the bye, it could be 4 weeks. I mean, you're talking about a lot of times with not playing, obviously. And now, quick, too, in regards to Thursday's game with my pick, me personally, if I had to bet the line, I would buy the hook and lay 7. I think it's a lot of points. Yeah. I love Tampa in a tease. And that's what I would do. I would say bet Tampa and put in multiple teases. That would be my advice. I know people hate, but I'll give you an example. Notre Dame. I thought the 7 and a hook was a little too much against FSU. I bought did it in a tease with Tampa. Actually, is one of my teases. Well, Notre Dame covered their side, so now they only won by 3. So I would have lost if I bet them straight. So I like Tampa in a tease. That's where I would go. Take the 7.5 to 1.5. A lot of these Super Bowl teams do well at first game coming off a Super Bowl, and let's not forget. This is the first game that fans are going to be there for Tom Brady. Tom Brady didn't have fans last year. So this is the first home game with home fans. I know the Super Bowl was at Raymond James Stadium, but still, it's a Super Bowl crowd. It's not your home ticket crowd. So you're getting a Super Bowl champion with Tom Brady's first game at Raymond James Stadium. So I think it's going to be loud. I think it's going to be wild. Obviously, we just heard about the Zach Martin situation, which I don't think helps the Cowboys out at all. You got a guy like Dak, too, coming in. I don't care what you say. He can say he feels good all he wants. You're a little nervous after, having the type of injury he had where your ankle's going the wrong way. And there's been, a shoulder injury as well. So I love the Bucs. Definitely take them in a tease. Like them to win. Wouldn't lay 7.5. If you want to, I would definitely buy the hook and lay 7.
I like it.
No.
All right, good stuff.
Who do you like in that game, Coach?
I like Tampa as well.
Yeah. I just, I look, man, you don't see many teams return all 22 starters, and they're doing it, and they're healthy. Yeah. And look, not many teams win a Super Bowl and then draft for depth. And that's what they did. They had no immediate needs in the draft. So they draft for depth, which is not many teams have that luxury. That's how good and loaded that team is. Coach knows they got the tackle they should have took in Wirfs. That's the tackle Gettleman should have took. And, of course, he's got the lowest rated tackle. And he took him as the first tackle off the board, Andrew Thomas.
Right.
That's Dave Gettleman. That's for you. You know what I mean? And one guy to watch out for is the tackle from Alabama. Sorry to go off track, Coach. But let me tell you about this guy. 340 pounds. He could do a 48-inch jump onto a box with 2 different legs. So he would jump and land his legs like spread on 2 different boxes, 48 inches in the air. And he's 340. He's a beast. Tampa Bay, they're playing on Thursday night, Angela. That's what I was saying. I like Tampa Bay on Thursday night. But no, they're going to be – I think they're going to be better than last year. I really do, because you got another year. I think there's more confidence with the team. You saw they played in the second half of the year. New Orleans isn't as good as well, so I think their division's a little bit weaker. I think Tampa's going to be 13, 14 wins this year. I really do. I think they're going to be tough. They're going to be in the hunt. There's no doubt about it. And I really think NFC-wise, and we'll talk about it more on Sunday, but I think there's 3 teams. I don't know which one out of the NFC West yet. It's one of those NFC West teams, Packers and the Bucs, and that's going to be your NFC team.
Makes sense to me. I don't see anybody beating either one of them, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why me and the Stizzer jumped on the Packers to win it all when there was questions about A-Rod, but we both said I knew he wasn't. At that point, the draft had happened and free agency had happened. We both said, so the Packers, who are now 11-1, me and Stiz got it 16-1 to win the Super Bowl, which I think is unbelievable value. This is a team that was a play away from being in the Super Bowl last year. So we got incredible value, in my opinion.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so. But, yeah, we'll give all that out on Sunday. I'm going to give out all my playoff teams, my NFC, AFC championship, my Super Bowl winner. Coach and Stiz, I think, will probably just give out their Super Bowl pick.
Yeah, I'll give out my Super Bowl pick. Okay. And also I got a long-term season prop bet that I'm going to give out.
Look at that. Okay.
All right. I did a little research, did a little fact finding, and I feel pretty confident about it.
And we're also going to do one thing too, and I'm curious to see what everybody else's is. We're going to do a lock of the week this year. So all of us are going to have a lock of the week. We're going to keep track of it with our records for obviously the whole season. We're going to give out a lock of the week every week, and one of those weeks We could be week 1 for Coach, week 10 for me, week 5 for Stiz. We don't know which week, but each guy will give out a lock of the year as well, which will, be a little bit more because it's your lock of the year. So if it's your lock of the year, that should be a definite winner in Nevada Knicks eyes. That better be a damn lock of the year. So we'll all have one of those this year too. We don't know when it'll be, but can't wait for Sunday, man. So honestly, Sunday's like Christmas morning to me. It really is. I know for Stiz too. It's when you wake up Sunday morning, man. I'm like a little kid going to bed before Christmas. I really am on Saturday night. I can't wait. I wake up like 7 in the morning, all excited, like a kid ready to go open his presents. But I'm just ready to go look at the lines, see what's going on, and bet some football, watch some football, do some fantasy football, do it all.
I took off on Monday already. I think I'm going to be in a coma. I think I'm going to be in a coma Sunday all day,
And Stiz should give me props for that because I told him you should take off the Monday after football.
I think that Monday is not going to be a good work day for me as well.
It should be a national holiday.
No, by the way, hold on, time out before I forget. Everyone, we missed Stiz's birthday last week, so happy birthday to Stiz.
Yep. Happy
and
birthday,
also today rather, is Coach Muddle's dad. Happy birthday, Dad. It's his birthday today, so
happy birthday.
Happy birthday. So before I forgot, I'll make sure I did that.
I'll say, because we won't be on till after, happy birthday, Coach. Coach turning a certain age on Saturday.
68?
Yeah, getting ready to retire, man. Collect my
awesome.
Whatever you collect,
Social Security.
Social Security, there you go.
And you get free coffee at McDonald's too. So
there you go. All right.
Oh,
really?
Man.
All right.
Yeah.
He'll be there
now.
Saturday morning now with his ID. Happy birthday, Coach. Damn, I had something else I wanted to say too, and now I forgot. Oh, and Stiz had mentioned earlier, and it's true. He said about this should be a holiday, and I really believe it too. I think the first week, and luckily now because they've extended the week, that we'll have the Super Bowl be on President's Day, and I love it.
Yeah,
thank God.
I've been saying that for years. So.
I know. Everybody, you go to how many people? I know. Me and Stiz were at a party together last year, and now you have the next day off. It just makes it better. You can enjoy it. You know what I mean? You don't have to wake up early. And I agree. I think the first week too. Maybe start on Labor Day or something. I don't know. But I think
do that because they give you that weekend of college football and let them get those things out, which I don't agree with.
Yeah.
But they don't want to interfere. They give college their own weekend. That's why they do it this weekend. But hey, at least we get it on the back end now. One's better than none, So
Angela's looking for a Raiders prediction on Monday night, which I think we'll wait till Sunday.
We'll wait
that
Sunday, possibly Monday night. We'll do that before the game. I don't know what Nevada Nick wants to do, but we'll see.
For the Raiders game, we'll see. I gotta see. Yeah, I'm gonna look into it. No, I didn't look into it yet. I'm the Raiders. We'll see. Honestly, going back and forth on that one guy, I do know where I'm leaning though, and I don't think it'll be where people think. You heard what I said earlier about what I thought about the Ravens. You heard what I said earlier, what I think about the Ravens. So that might be a little clue. I'm not in love with the Raiders though either this year, to be honest. So we'll see. We'll see with old Chucky what the Raiders can do.
Old Chucky boy.
Yeah.
Coach, you asked me earlier if I had a prop bet going into Thursday night.
Yeah.
And I will give you one that I actually really like a lot. I'm going to go over 2.5 touchdowns by Tom Brady this Thursday. I think they get out to a hot start, and we talked about Dallas's defense being suspect. Yeah. I think they get out to a real hot start, and I could see him getting easily 3 touchdowns, and I'm going to tell you, one of them at least is going to go to his homeboy, AB, Antonio Brown.
Okay, I thought you were
okay.
I like that.
All right.
Love it. Is that even money, Stiz? Over 2.5? I think it should be. I would think, right?
Close. Yeah, close to that. It might be a small favorite. I did hear. I did hear Godwin hurt his hamstring or something in practice the other day. So I don't know how much that's going to affect him. I don't know if that's going to be a game time thing or not. But if it does, that's a definite Antonio Brown day for sure.
Yeah. Well, and too, let's not forget, Stiz, as we said, obviously we remember Dallas's defense last year. Well, now you got those guys in a new defense. So now they got a new system to learn. It's early on. It's the GOAT.
Listen, man, TB12 is going to come out hot, brother. He's going to come out hot. He's going to come out firing. So,
trust me, Nevada Nick and Stiz are on TB12 now. We're official members, man. We got.
Well, listen. What I want to know is when is the party for you guys doing that Adam Sandler movie?
What Adam Sandler movie?
Didn't you go down to Wilmington to the 86ers, 87ers, whatever the hell they're called, the B League team, and try out for the movie?
No, we didn't. Oh, okay. Yeah, I heard about that. There was a tryout.
Yeah. I thought you guys were going there to get on.
Well, I'll tell you, Stiz puts the headband on. I can see it. You got to see.
Hey,
Stiz
listen.
Headband on for cornhole. He's got the look, man.
I can rock the headband, Coach.
Yeah. He comes to cornhole with the headband, the wristband. He looks like AI on the cornhole board.
I come looking the part, buddy. I come looking the part.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
And that's half the battle right there.
That's right. That's right. You got to look good. Got to look impressive.
Stiz is hoping he has another trophy for his trophy case. He's playing in a tournament Saturday, so
he already
got the fantasy football trophy, the cornhole trophy, another tournament. Stiz is going to need to get a bigger trophy case. So,
all right, see what happens.
Sounds good. All right. So, all right, folks. Thanks, guys. We got our act together a little late.
Anytime.
We're here, but Sunday.
Whoa. We got our act together a little late.
We're a package deal. It's Sunday.
When you been learning French?
10 a.m.
Yeah. Coach turned French overnight.
Yeah. We my ass.
Yep. So we'll be Sunday morning, 10 a.m. I'll be coming to you from the fireside chat, on Sunday, and so we'll see. But 10 a.m. we'll be ready. We'll be rocking and rolling, ready for kickoff. So
sounds good.
So easy on the beverages on Saturday, gentlemen.
Yeah. Well, me and Stiz can play hurt, brother. You got to worry about us.
Yeah. Suck it up, Buttercup. I know. So, all right, everyone. Thanks for checking us out. Please like our page, join our YouTube channel, and share it with your friends. We appreciate getting the word out. We love it. And we'll see everybody Sunday, opening day. Awesome. Enjoy. Be safe, and we'll see you Sunday.